My God, we're in person.
Oh my
Hello. Yes. Hello, everyone. We are here for the next episode of A Conversation with Kely. Here to talk about a very strange week of Big Brother 25. Let me just say.
Oh, it's such a weird week of nothing.
Yes. Before we get into it, though, I am here to introduce my lovely new co-host, Allie. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing well. We had a Kely day.
Yes, we did.
Just did some stuff from like the mall and just downtown and stuff. Just hung out and had some fun.
Yes.
And did an escape room, and now we're just chilling.
Yeah, I think this is actually the first time we're talking about a Big Brother season, like while I'm visiting you, so that's exciting. But what's not exciting is this week, because I will say right now, I went into this week hoping that it could be something exciting.
Change the name.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, I forgot to do that. Hold on. Hold on. You didn't see anything. There. Okay. Now we're good. Yeah. So I went into this week trying to be very optimistic as to what exactly was going to happen. When Julie first said, and I think you'd agree with me, I think when Julie first said that, like, oh, we're not going to have nominations, we're not going to have a veto, we're not going to have, anything like that, I assumed there was going to be something else in place. Like it could be like a Survivor week or maybe a challenge week. Like I was kind of here for that. I was not anticipating that this is basically an off week. Like nothing fucking happens this week.
It's literally like just absolutely nothing.
Except for what's going on with Cam and Jared. So yeah, this is a very boring week to cover.
Yep.
There's really not a lot to talk about here.
But we still have 8 pages of notes for some reason.
Yeah, we still do have a little bit to talk about. I think that's because there's something that happens in the Sunday episode that I took a lot of notes about. But regardless, there's not really a ton to talk about here. And I won't lie to you guys. I think this week has kind of ruined the season a bit. I really think it has.
I hope it comes back to normal, but we'll see.
The momentum that we had at that double eviction is basically gone. It's been very straightforward ever since then. There have been moving pieces for sure, but I just feel like the excitement, it's starting to dwindle. And I think the length of this season is really starting to, I'm really starting to feel it. I'm starting to feel like maybe this was a little too long. Maybe we needed to not have this week in there because it really just feels like it's here to kind of just waste time. Like there's no other reason to have this week other than to just be a time waster.
Like, I just wish they kept the double and that's it. Like,
well, I think
so much better.
I think there were alternatives to what they could do here. I will say right off the bat, before we get into how this week was going to go, this is what I think they should have done. I think what they should have done, if they wanted to bring Cam and Jared back into the house and have them there pretty much the entire week, which we'll talk about.
Yeah.
This should have been something where the other house guests were involved. And I think what they should have done is have them there the entire week, give them a chance to talk to everyone, and then they put it to a vote. I think that's what they should have done. So that way that it, there's more incentive, there's actual stakes here. Oh my God, there's even a sense of tension because it's like, are you going to vote for the same person I'm going to vote for? Like there's so much more they could have done here. Exactly. But of course, because it's BBUS, we got to take the most boring direction possible. And that's exactly what they did here. Like for once, and look, BB Can was not a good season this year. There was a lot of things they did that I was not a fan of, but
to an extent.
There was a lot of stuff this season, though, that I was not a fan of. But I feel like if BB Can were to have done this, which I mean, technically they did because they did do the, they basically did do something similar to this with, what happened with the fake double. Yeah. I feel like they would have handled this way better than they did here. So yeah, either way, we're just going to get into it right now. So we're going to start off with Sunday, which I will say Sunday's episode was at first pretty good. There was actually some stuff to talk about. It's not interesting later on, but it actually did start off, I feel like, pretty promising. Yeah.
But that's about
it. Yeah. So we'll just get into it right now. So Blue is floored by everything that just happened, such as a double eviction, being on the block where there's showmance, and Jared leaving. And Cirie talks about how she really wasn't expecting Jared to leave right away. However, she's happy that she doesn't have to pretend anymore, that these people are her friends. So you can see that Cirie is already kind of realizing, oh, I can just kind of be alone now. I don't have to worry so much about Jared. I can just focus on myself. we'll get into that. But Cory says that tonight was wild with Cam leaving unanimously, but things really started to heat up after he won HOH. And we then get a flashback to Cory's HOH reign. And this is at least the first half of the episode is dedicated to this. So they give us a little bit of meat to chew here. Because we see that he immediately is setting his sights on targeting Jared after the massive blow up. Everyone wants him gone. And despite this, when Jared comes up to Cory, Cory tells him that they're good. Which, I mean, basically what Jared did to him last week. The difference is that Jared did want Cameron to go and didn't, but also was like, I don't really care if Cory or America go. But the difference is that Cory very much was like gunning for Jared here.
Like he was like, oh, I want us to be final too.
Yeah.
And stop trusting each other.
Do you think this was like the right move for Cory to go for Jared?
I mean, at the time, yeah. Yeah,
I think at the time it was, but Cory definitely has not been playing that well since then, and we'll get into that. Yeah. So he says he thinks that Blue is going to use the veto to take him off, so she will likely be the pawn. And we then get an extended version of what we saw before. And I will say right now, if you have to point to one thing that kind of like shows why Cory's in the position he's in now, I think it's this moment. He asks Blue if she'd use the veto to take off Jared. When she doesn't answer, he tells her he's putting her up. And if Jared does come down, Cirie would go up and would leave. He doesn't want to put her in that position and asks if that's okay because he can't have him staying this week. She tells him if he was to put down Jared and Cirie, she wouldn't take him down. Which she says that she knows Jared's the target, but didn't think that he'd leave this early. First and foremost, she needs to make sure she's not on the block, save her own game, and she needs to convince Cory if she plays in veto, she won't use it to save Jared. Do you think he should have just like put up Jared and Cirie here and not Jared and Blue?
I mean, I don't really think it makes a difference either way. Like I was kind of surprised, like I thought because that conversation, I was like, yeah, I thought he was going to put up Cirie.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, okay, I guess, I mean, either or makes sense.
Yeah, I think him putting up Cirie and Jared would have honestly been kind of a danger zone area because he doesn't want Cirie to go. He wants to make sure Jared goes. Yeah. And I think if he puts up Jared and Cirie, there's a much more higher probability that Jared wins the veto. And I think that, Cirie going is like way worse for Cory's game than like Jared going. Yeah. So especially because like Cory pretty much is like the main target after that. Yeah. So where at the time Cirie was like very much like just as much of a target as Jared. So Blue's I just read that. So Cory then tells America and Matt that he's going to put up Jared, and after all this is done, they need to go to Blue to let her know they didn't trust that she wouldn't use it on Jared, but wants to work with her, and he lets her know he's putting up the both of them. Blue then goes right to Jared and lets him know that Cory's planning to put him and Cirie up, and if she wins veto, she can't put him down, but thinks that he has a good chance next to Cirie, and he asks her if she can't lie to him, and she says that she'll probably do that. So Blue says that she's super flustered right now, saying that God knows what. She promised Cory that she wouldn't use the veto, but Jared's right. If she's off the block and she wins, she's using the veto, but she really hopes that it doesn't come to that. So Cory then makes his nominations, and we then see who everyone shows for the veto, and Jared picked Matt as his house guest choice. And this is a big point of contention. Yeah. Obviously, we know Matt wins the veto. Jared picking Matt. How do you feel about that? Do you think that was like the right choice for him?
I mean, it makes sense. Like he doesn't want his mom to fight for him. Like, and lose, but like because he knows that Matt's good at comms.
Yeah, I think that's why he did it.
Yeah. So I mean, I think it was definitely a good move for him at the time.
I think Jared recognized that like Matt is somebody that he can use as like someone to win comps and things like that, and he kind of used him like to his advantage. But I do think that definitely, he obviously didn't know that Matt wasn't really with him at this point, which honestly is just kudos to how good of a player Matt's become. Which I feel like every week he's just kind of getting better. So basically, he says he doesn't want Cirie to have to fight for him, lose a comp, and sit with the weight that he's going home, and he's probably his best shot out of the people he can trust. So when he wins, he's really unsure what to do with it at first, and he goes to Cory and first asks if he should use it, and Cory makes it clear that's not an option. Matt wants to use it on Blue. Cory tells him to just keep it. So Blue goes to him and he lets her know that Cory doesn't want him using it. She pleads for him to do so. He says if he were to, Cory will have to get more blood on his hands. And she says she can't let Jared go right now. It has to be Cirie. I honestly think Matt could have just used it on Blue here. I think that would have probably been like the better move.
Because like Blue
but I also think it is indicative of just how much trust he has in Cirie, because at least in my opinion, like the way Matt has navigated this week, not to jump ahead a bit, but the way Matt has navigated this week, especially, I do think Cirie is his number one. I think he trusts Cirie the most. I think.
Yeah, like I think Jag's more like his number two.
Yeah, I don't think him and Jag are on the same page. So basically, Blue says she's pissed that Matt is keeping noms the same. First and foremost, it could keep her safe, and if he uses it and brings her down, Jared then has a solid chance of not going home this week. So he tells her that they will kill him if he uses it. He's sorry, knows it's hard on her, but he can't go against them as he will be a target next week. But she knows this would happen if someone else won HOH, and he says it's going to be hard to do and says he's sorry. Jared then goes to him and tries to get him to use it as he locked it in with him and Cirie, and that's the only reason he picked him, because he thinks he can trust him, and Matt lies to him saying that he's going to use it, which obviously he doesn't. So Jared then hugs Blue and tells her that they can't trust anyone. He tells her that he told him he picked him and he's got to do what he's got to do. She says she really wants him to take her down. He tells her that he won't go against her. She lets him know that he's fully the target this week, which he's upset that Blue knew about this and didn't tell him, which I don't blame Jared for being upset about this, but the thing is, like,
because like she didn't know, and
Blue has been leaving him in the dark like all week pretty much. This was something that she was doing like prior to this. She wasn't telling him any information, and basically he's upset about this, and she tells him that she was trying to convince him to say Cirie the entire time, and tells him that Cory told her she already knows who his target is, which has nothing to do with her. She also tells him that Matt told her he's keeping noms the same. So Jared is upset hearing that he's a target and wishes Blue would have told him this earlier rather than right now, as it would have been good to know before last minute. And Blue's dumbfounded that Jared didn't think he was the target after what happened earlier in the week, and also says she was always looking out for herself first. I mean, it really just speaks to it really just speaks to, you know, the kind of person that it really just speaks to Jared's ego, the fact that like he didn't think that he was the target here and that he thought he was good. I feel like he probably should have known that, like, you know, that was the case. So he talks to the BSB a bit and lets them know that Bowie will be the flip vote for him to stay because he knows the other three will be for Blue. And Felicia then says that Jared threw her under the bus with the Izzy vote, and it's time for her to roll that bus under him this week, and karma is a hot mess. So America and Bowie talk. Bowie tells him that how Jared is trying to flip the vote, and America tells her not to listen to him. Jagman comes in and confirms that they are evicting Jared. And so Bowie says that she just wants to stick to... Oh, I forgot to read this note. Because that completely... you can go do the thing your mom said, by the way. After Matt doesn't use the veto, Jared goes to work hoping he can get Mimi, Felicia, and Bowie to vote for him to stay. He pulls Bowie aside and asks her, and she says that she needs to think about it because she doesn't have time. And he says he promises her he wants to work with her and doesn't want to put this pressure on him, but he wants to talk to her because he knows what's going to happen. So he's really trying to flip the vote here, which was something that we did hear about. So he talks to the BSB, which is basically the only remaining alliance at this point of the Brown Sugar Babes, and he lets them know that Bowie is going to be the flipped vote for him to stay because he knows that the other three are going to vote for Blue. So Felicia said, hold on.
Oh.
There we go. Okay. So Felicia talks about how Jared threw her under the bus last week with the Izzy vote. And so it's time for her to roll the bus under him this week, and that karma is a hot mess. So she's not with Jared at all on this plan, even though she's saying she is. And America and Bowie then talk. Bowie tells him how Jared's trying to flip the vote, and America tells her not to listen to him. Jag then comes in and confirms that they are evicting Jared. So Bowie says she just wants to stick with Matt, Jag, Cory, and America. She's kind of done being played by everyone. I don't really blame Bowie here, considering, you know, what they did. Basically, Jag comes in and confirms that they... Oh, I just read this. So she says that she wants to play this game by wearing shirts and saying which team they are all on because she's sick of it. I thought that was actually pretty funny at this point because people are flip-flopping alliance constantly. So Cirie says her, Felicia, Mimi, and Bowie are the 4 majority standing right now. It's abundantly clear the 3 of them have been lying the whole time and already have their minds made up. She wants them to give her a little bit of credit and not to insult her intelligence any more than they already have. And this is when Julie then calls them for the eviction, in which Jared does end up leaving. So, there was an attempt to flip the vote, as there's been pretty much the entire season, but I don't think this was ever going to gain any traction. Jared was such...
spicy, though.
Oh, no, I was talking about the fact that, like, they were trying to flip the vote here onto Blue. Like, I don't think it was ever going to get any traction. I think Jared had lost too many people at that point. He had, started too many fires that couldn't be put out. I don't think there was any scenario where this was actually going to work. But, at least he definitely tried. So Cirie says her head is spinning with Jared gone right behind Izzy. She feels so alone in this house already and is literally hanging off the side of an island with sharks nibbling on her feet, has no idea what this really means for her. And then basically we get the confirmation that this week is basically meaningless, which Allie's going to talk about.
Few hours to process the double eviction. They receive a transmission from the Scaryverse that reveals that Cameron and Jared are not yet evicted and will be coming back into the house as BB zombies, and one will have their game resurrected. Cirie can barely contain herself with her excitement regarding the news.
I understand that they wanted to do this. They want to do some kind of battle back, but I feel like one of two things should have happened here. One, if you're going to have them come back, maybe wait a couple hours to have them come back. Like maybe have them in the Netherverse for like the Nether region for a bit, and then they have to like kind of fight their way back, or do what I said, like have them come back and have it be like a vote of sorts. Because just having them come back right immediately, it completely like minimizes the impact of the double eviction. There is no impact now because they're back and one of them's coming back and it doesn't matter. So it makes this entire double eviction feel kind of weightless.
Like it definitely makes sense because it probably was because of the Luke thing. But like,
I don't know. I don't know if this was because of the Luke thing or if the JAG vote was because of the Luke thing. I feel like this was planned because they already had the 2 episodes scheduled and not the Wednesday. But I think it might have been like maybe they didn't know, because again, this feels very like sloppily planned. It doesn't feel like they really thought about this at all.
This again?
No.
It makes no sense.
Yeah, it did not work whatsoever. I don't understand why you put them right back. It makes the entire double eviction feel basically pointless. Like, what was even the point of doing a double eviction if they were just going to have them come back? But Cory doesn't know what's going on with this.
That's
sorry.
This madness, and he's been responsible for a lot of big threats leaving recently, and whoever comes back will not be good news for him. This is all uncharted territory, and he has no idea what to expect.
Yeah, they've never done anything like this before, so I get his nervousness for sure.
Yeah, it's just like, why is this a thing?
Yeah, it was really dumb.
Jared and Cameron then re-enter the house in ragged clothes that are somehow supposed to represent zombies to very little effect.
Let's talk about this.
Did they just wreck their shirts they were already wearing?
No, I think what they literally did was just get like, they literally just looked homeless. That's what they looked like. They didn't look like zombies. Like they didn't even put makeup on them. They couldn't even like it's so easy to make someone look like a zombie. You put some makeup on them, you make them look dead. Like they didn't even try. They literally just looked like their shirts were ripped. Like that's all it was. There was nothing zombie like of this twist. Like they very little effort put into this.
So sloppily handled, and they like really did not put any thought into it at all.
Yeah, again, imagine like how well BB Can would have handled like the costumes. Like they would have killed it. Yeah, and production wise, especially.
Oh, yeah.
So this is terrible.
So easy.
Yep.
Another transmission, letting them know that this week there will be no HOH, noms, or beat-ups. Instead, Cameron and Jared will live in the house. We'll go live in the house.
Live in the house.
Battle against each other, and next Thursday, one of them will earn their way back into the game, and the other will be dead and buried forever. And they will all learn more about the zombie battle very soon.
Why this? Like, out of everything, why is this what you decide to do with them? And also,
I don't want to watch them.
That's the thing. Like, Like, the thing about this is that I understand they wanted to do this, but if they were going to have them do a comp, have them not be in the house. Like, have them be in the nether region, and they're sending messages to the house guests. It's like, oh my God, this person just won. This person could come back. Then you can still have a game going on, because it feels like for the rest of the like 16 house guests that are there, or the 15 house guests that are there, or however many that are there, there's nothing for them to do all week except just kind of wait and see like what's going to happen. And that's so boring to watch because there's nothing for them to do except talk. Like, there's no comms for them to play in. There's no power. And look, Big Brother's not all about comms. I think we need to, stop that narrative entirely, because it seems like CBS is obsessed with comps, and that's not at all what the show is about. The problem is not about the comps. What the problem is that when you don't have any sort of structure, and anyone in power, it just feels kind of weightless. It doesn't feel like there's anything going on. It would be like if Survivor, you didn't have immunity, like nobody had immunity. It just wouldn't be the same game, like you need that extra spice. That's why I feel like there should have been at least something for the other house guests to do, whether it was a vote, whether it was even a luxury comp. Like, there's so much more they could have done. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there's literally nothing for them to do all week. So it's just, yeah, it sucks.
So
And they got to deal with 2 people that they already evicted, which it's like, what the fuck are we doing? Yeah, like what are we doing? Hmm. It's just, again, we have to ask ourselves, what are we doing? Like, straight up, what are we doing this week?
So Jared says it feels great to see the look on everyone's faces with everyone looking like they just evicted a monster. But coming back into the house after a 6-1 vote is a slim chance, so the fact he's back now is super exciting and it's time to play.
That's so stupid.
Ugh. Cam says he was evicted 8-0 and everyone thought they took him out, but he's not dead yet. And it's going to be a battle against Jared.
That sounded like Jenna from Waitress.
Setback as he's fought so hard to get them out, and it's disheartening to see them back, and it's going to be his mission to send them right back out the door.
Yeah, I mean, Cory definitely was fucked over here. Like,
yeah.
I can't imagine what's like being HOH and then having that basically dismantled in seconds.
Matt is hoping Jared can expect the move he made. Blue is happy Jared is back in the house, but knows there's a lot of explaining to do, as she didn't tell him he was the target all week, and he didn't like that.
Yeah, and when she means all week, she means all week. Like, she was withholding information from him ever since he was HOH.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a lot that she needs to come clean about.
So Jared goes to Blue and tells her she did something filthy, as well as Felicia, she did him wrong, and he doesn't want to have any conversation about it. Felicia interjects and says she doesn't want to have any conversation after they both, talking about Jared and Cirie, played her ass last week.
Yeah, and this is easily the best part of the episode. Like, easily. This is like the only thing that I would recommend watching this episode for.
This part is so good.
Oh, yeah.
It's such a good fight.
Yes.
So Felicia says last week she found out Jared and Cirie were trying to fight for her to stay in the house when she was on the block against Izzy. They lost her trust, so she's confused why Jared is acting like he's mad.
And she's valid here. Like, they didn't fight for her at all. They were very adamant about keeping Izzy and didn't even fight for Felicia to stay. And I feel like...
And they obviously Cirie voted out...
There was a way they could have gone about it to where they didn't want either of them to leave, and they could have just kind of like campaigned for the both of them. And they didn't. Like, even when it was Felicia and Izzy and one of them could have gone off with the veto, they didn't even try. So
Cirie tells her to hold on, and Felicia asks how he's going to say she's fucked him over after last week, and when he did the same to her last week, and she needs to tell her that it didn't work hard to get them to change that vote and send her home. So Cirie asks when she's going to let her speak, and she says their group decided, and Felicia says there isn't one. And Cirie tells her if she wants to do it like that and get them together because it happened right here in this room.
Yep.
Felicia says this was all before they decided they wanted to keep her. And she talks about the fight between Jared and Cory, and that happened because he wanted to send her home, and she asked to help her understand why it was okay for them to vote against her last week. So Cirie says everyone was voting against her, and Felicia says everyone was voting against Jared tonight and doesn't understand what she did to them to want to send her home.
Yeah, I mean, again, Felicia's right here. Like, why are we mad about the Jared vote when you did the same to me? Like, I get Felicia's anger here for sure. With that said, I think Cirie handled herself very well in this conversation.
Oh.
Yeah, because I mean, Cirie has been mad at Felicia for a while. She hasn't been honest with her about it, and this is kind of where they really air stuff out.
Cirie says she has a whole list of stuff. Felicia says they came to her every day saying they were fighting for her, and Jared asks what that means, and Felicia says it means that in the end they were willing to vote her out, and Cirie brings up how she let them vote Jared out, and that she couldn't let it happen tonight, the same way she couldn't switch them. How would she expect them to switch it to her? And Jared says he thought he had them at least.
Yep.
Jared says part of him feels betrayed by Felicia because he really did feel as if she had her vote, but at the end of the day, she hasn't been very honest in this game.
Yeah.
Jared brings up when Felicia approached him about the final two with Cirie and said she wasn't going to do it anymore. And Cirie angrily asks her what this was. And he brings up how she said she was going to do it with him, and Felicia denies it and says that Cirie doesn't know when it was because she wasn't there.
And I think this is the one parts Felicia really screwed up on. I think that she easily could have been like, listen, I'm sure we all have other deals. It wasn't just that I didn't want to do the final two with you.
Yeah.
It was that I was also considering other options. And I think if she would have said that, I think this would have gone a lot better for her.
I think so too, because
I'm glad she didn't, because this fight was really spicy. But I do think this was the main thing that really hurt Felicia. I think the fact that she said to Jared, and I said this when she initially had this conversation with him, like, I think the second she said, I have a final two with Cirie, but I want to switch it to you, I think she could have done it a lot differently. And I think this probably doesn't happen if she does that. Because it's not like Cirie didn't have a bunch of side deals.
Yep. Very, very true. So Jared says he has no reason to lie about it, and Felicia says she wants to see the tape.
Yeah. Which I thought was so funny that they then cut to the flashback. Yeah.
So obviously we get a flashback to day 27 of Felicia telling Jared she has a final two with Cirie, but a part of her is actually thinking she prefers to have a final two with him.
Yeah.
We'll just mention they added this again.
I don't know why you wrote. I don't know why you read that part.
Yeah, I don't know, for real, I don't know why they added that back, because we saw it before.
Well, Big Brother does that a lot. Yeah. I think they do it because they assume people missed, episodes.
That makes sense. So,
but, yeah.
Jared asks if she remembers that conversation outside, and Felicia continues to deny it, and Cirie screams at her to look at her now. He continues to tell her the story of what happened, and Cirie says she even said to Jared she wished she would have talked to her about it, but he told her not to say anything about her telling him anything about the final two. So she didn't say anything, just like she hasn't said anything to anybody about what they discussed.
Yeah, and again, I do want to we heard Felicia say it, I did not think it was going to be this intense.
Oh, I know. It was insane and wild. Oh my God. It got spicy.
It's very much here for two huge fights happening back to back pretty much.
Oh, me too. It keeps it very entertaining.
Yeah.
So Mimi says all the people she has genuinely trusted and worked with are fighting right now, and she's so confused why and thinks it puts a hard target on all of their backs. She is annoyed with everybody, as she should be.
Yeah, I mean, this has been the problem with Mimi, I think, from the beginning, is that as much as I love Mimi as a player, she's working with the wrong people. I think that if she would have worked with the other side of the house, I think she'd be in a much better position right now. But because she has put so much faith into the Brown Sugar Babes and hasn't really wanted to work with anyone else, meanwhile, Jared, Felicia, and Cirie have been making other deals. I think that's why she is in this position right now. So
yeah, because the only people that she really trusted were them.
Yeah.
Cirie, Felicia, and Jared.
Yeah. Which is, definitely makes sense. They locked that alliance down, but I don't think she should have assumed that they didn't have other deals. Because, she hasn't really branched out as much as she should. And I think that's been Mimi's main flaw in the game.
So Felicia says everything she ever told them that she said, she told them that she said. And now she doesn't trust anyone in the house. And she asks him what their plan is if Jared stays. And he says he wants to keep his ass in the house. And from there on out, he knows he will be fighting for his life. That's all it is, because she will only fool him one time.
Which again, it just really shows how fucking stupid it is that Jared's back here.
I know. Oops.
What did you do?
When I was reading, I opened dictionary.
Oh, good job.
It's funny. So Cirie says Felicia is like the pot calling the kettle black right now.
Yep.
She tried to have a final two with Jared when they were supposed to have one, and she told him about it. She wants her to get off her high horse and come down there with some peons and see the hypocrisy.
Yep. So again, just really great fight overall.
So good.
Not over yet, but we do get a little segment here.
Matt, Jag, and Blue welcome Cam back, and he tells them he's proud of them for what happened, and this will be fun.
I love how this is happening as they're like fighting in the other room.
Oh, it's so funny. They're probably very like, congrats to being back.
No, they were generally excited to have him back at this point.
Yeah, but like they don't really personally like him that much.
Yeah.
Cameron says this week is about figuring out who he's going to work with and who he basically can't work with. As it sits right now, he's looking to do a good bit of work with Matt and Jag. Jared's coming back into this house and starting fires, so his strategy is to come back and be calm, cool, and collected.
In theory, is definitely the way to go about this. Like if someone's coming in with like a lot of fire and they are, causing all this drama, the best thing to do is to come in a lot more calm and be like, "Hey, I'm a free agent here, and you want to work with me."
He just has no personality.
That's the thing though. Like I like what Cam is doing. I just can't fucking stand him, and he gets worse and worse like every single week.
He gets worse and worse.
Yeah, like Cam would be such a good like underdog to root for if he was even somewhat likable. Yeah, if he had even somewhat of like likable traits. Yeah, exactly. Like that's the thing. Like it's just I can't root for the guy. Like I just can't. Yeah. Yeah, like you need to take a shower when he talks.
So Matt talks to Cirie and he says he tried to play this game as the most loyal and honest he can. And this is where it gets hard because everyone is playing different games and she tells him it's hard and he says that he felt guilty the second he kept that beat up.
Yeah. I mean, I thought Matt handled himself very well in this conversation. Don't click on words.
Matt says he loves Cirie and she's someone he's been working close with. And he still wants to honor that. And so that's something he needs to work at, is rebuilding that with Cirie and letting her know his true intentions for this week.
And this is what really sticks out about Matt, I think, as a player, is that at this point in the game, everyone's kind of writing off Cirie. They don't want much to do with her. They kind of see her on the same level as Jared. Matt is trying to kind of bridge the gap between that and kind of still keep Cirie on his side. And I think, again, it really just shows like how good of a social player Matt has become. Like he's navigating relationships so well and he hasn't burned like anybody at this point. And this could have been where he lost Cirie and Jared, but he actually finds a way to win them back. And I think it's just a very impressive play from Matt overall.
Like for a recruit, he's like so impressive.
He's kind of like Derek X, or like he started off not really knowing what he was doing. Like he figured out the game, really picked up on it, and now he's in like a really good spot. I would argue probably the best spot right now.
Oh yeah, like, he's killing it.
Oh yeah,
like he's definitely someone to like.
He's one of the front runners for sure.
Yeah. He's definitely to win for sure.
Like
if he gets to the end, he's probably winning.
Yeah. At this point, I would say so.
She asks him why, and he tells her she was never the target, obviously, which she knows, but he tells him she trusted him. He says everyone wanted Jared to go home because of the lying, and his goal was to get him out and not her. And if he had used it, she would have gone home, and he didn't want that. And if he used it, he could have been different, and he knew she was going up, and he had to choose between who he trusted more. Makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. Again, I think he handled himself really well. Mm-hmm. What they didn't show, and I wish they would have, is the way Jared was coming at Matt here, because I feel like that was another really important moment where it was like Jared was really angry at Matt for like not using the veto on him and things like that. And I wish they would have shown that more, because the way Matt handled himself there was really good, especially compared to how Cirie was talking to Jag.
Yeah.
She was way more upset with Jag than she was with Matt. Like she's always going to have this soft spot for Matt. And again, I feel like that's just really impressive overall. Like even though Matt is someone that has verbalized he's wanted to take out Cirie, she still trusts him.
Yeah, it's like he's definitely a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah.
Cirie says she has a soft spot for Matt. And if he is a servant, she needs to hang up on her game. She needs to hang up her game shoes because she's blind, but that's what she always does. There's always a person she should get rid of, and she never does because she loves them down to the wind, and she doesn't know with him.
See, with Matt, though, I mean, I do think, because people talk about this, I do think that if he's in a final 3 with Cirie, I do think he would cut her. But I also feel like if there's somebody in the final 3 that he's not as close with Cirie, I could see him taking her to the end.
I could see it too. Like, oh my god, if Cirie and Matt were the finals,
that would be literally one of the best final 2s of a long time.
No, who'd win?
I don't either.
I could see it being at least close.
Yeah.
Like a 4-3.
Yeah.
I guess it depends who owns their game better, who explains it better, things like that.
And again, fantastic work for Cirie for not writing Matt off here.
Oh, she's amazing.
Yeah. Matt
tells Cory good job, and they just did some big moves, which Cory tells him they did their job, and he tells them, and Jag, he hopes Cameron wins this thing as he has no ability to work with any of them, whereas Jared will buddy immediately up with Cirie. He wants Cameron to be here over Jared because Jared backdoored Cameron, and he's the only one who backdoored Cameron, and Matt did too.
Solid points all around. Like, Cameron is nobody, Jared has Cirie. That's always going to be the case.
So has
Blue. Well, I don't think it was Felicia at this point, not after that fight.
Unless they him.
I honestly don't know if they would have. That would have been interesting to see.
Cory and Scandal in the zombie battle because he and Jared had a massive blow up in the house, and he knows where he stands with him. But him and Cameron have had a complicated, albeit pretty decent game relationship so far. And if he comes back, he can work with him. And they all got rid of Jared, but he got rid of Cam.
Yeah, that's true. And also because Cory and America were very much kind of using Cam as he's going to do their dirty work and things like that. And so again, it's smart. Yeah, it's smart for Cory to want Cam back over Jared.
America says she feels a lot closer to Cam than she did to Jared because he definitely doesn't trust her. Every time she talks to him, she feels like she's talking to a wall, and she really hopes he doesn't win this. Even though she doesn't like Cam either because of how gross he is.
Yeah, that's a whole different. But
Blue talks to Jared and once again goes on about how she did him dirty because she knew she was going and withheld this information from him and was clearly in on it the whole time, understanding that he was a target for Cory. She tells him Cory and America were targeting him and they all knew it.
This is exactly the problem with this twist, is that there's so many conversations this week that it's literally just the same thing over and over again. And that's exactly the case with Jared and Blue. It's just him constantly being like, why'd you know about this? Why'd you lie to me about it? It's like, okay, I get it. There's not really much more that can, and look, I don't necessarily blame Jared for being mad at Blue here, but because of the fact that there's nothing else to talk about, this is literally all he's talking about all week. And it's so frustrating.
Oh, definitely. It's just why? Jared says Blue didn't let him know until the very last minute that he was the target of this double eviction. He has some questions because he's really feeling suspicious about it. She says she doesn't believe him in any of this, and he says that she never said anything to him. She laid in bed with him every single fucking night because the ultimate goal was to protect herself, and the only thing she had to do was let him know, and she says she is sorry, and all she was trying to do was she thought it was best for them, and she asked where they stand, and he says this is very fresh, and the moment he needed her to be with him 100%, she wasn't, and that hurts. Blue says that while she understands him being mad at her, he's done the same thing to her in the past, and she feels really uneasy about where they both stand. So now she's trying to move forward playing a game that's best for her.
Such a frustrating conversation. Okay, so the first 30-ish, 20-ish minutes of this episode actually were pretty decent. I was like, okay, they're giving us a lot to talk about. The rest of this episode is so fucking boring. Everything else we're going to talk about here, I just do not care about it all. So the house guests receive information on how the battle back's going to work, otherwise known as the Resurrection Rumble, but we're not going to call it that because fuck this stupid week. So we're just going to call it a buyback because who cares?
It's a really stupid buyback for no reason.
Yeah, it's really dumb.
I wish it would have been so much more interesting if everyone was allowed.
Or if they just waited till Jerry. I don't know why they didn't just wait till Jerry.
But
Yeah. I think all of us just like want to get to fucking jury at this point.
Yep.
But whoever wins this competition will be given the opportunity to decide whether or not they will compete in a do or die competition, which that's Survivor's thing. Don't steal that from them, even though that twist also sucks. To resurrect their own game or force the other zombie to compete, but they need to win in order to get the advantage. So let me break this down for you.
Brother even knew they like to steal things.
Let me break this down. Let me break this down for you real quick. So the way basically this works is you're playing two competitions, but one is literally just so you can then decide if you want to play in the second competition. Do you see how stupid this is? Like,
it's so stupid. Honestly, they should just have both compete and it's just the puzzle first.
Yeah, that would have been so much more exciting. And I also don't understand again why they need to be in the house for this. Like, have them just be outside of the house doing this on their own while the rest of the house guests.
Literally, production did not think this.
Yeah, like the other house guests literally could have just had a normal week. And then, or they could have, you know what else they could have done? Do a Big Brother 13 style where like the person that wins in that battle back competes against the person that was just evicted. And then whoever comes back gets, like, they could have done it that way too. Like there were so many other ways they could have gone about this. And this was easily the most boring way possible. Like, I don't think there was anything exciting about this whatsoever. So Cameron says the super fandom is going nuts right now because he has the opportunity to come back in this game and really turn up. He's got to bring his game back from the dead for another shot at $750,000 of $100,000. So $1 million, whatever. I don't care at this point. But they head over to the graveyard where they find out what this competition will be. And the battle's going to play in 3 rounds over the next 24 hours, which, can I just say, is so fucking stupid. I don't understand. If you're going to have 3 rounds, literally have it be like throughout the course of the week.
Yeah.
Like have one be then, have one then be like, I don't know, maybe Tuesday, like maybe like Sunday, then have the other be Tuesday. Or what they could have also done was when they would usually do like veto, do it then. When they do HOH, do it then. When they do the ceremony, do it then. But no, it's literally just 24 hours. So they have something to do on Friday and they have nothing to do for the rest of the week until Thursday. Yep. It's fucking horrible.
It's awful.
But basically, the battle's going to be played on 3 rounds. On the bell, they are to run to their grave and dig up the coffin. They'll remove the bag inside and untie the knots. Once untied, they are to remove the eyeballs and skulls from the bag and place it into their bin. They must transfer 1 skull and 1 eyeball at a time to the shovel on the other side by walking back and forth across their teetering balance beam. But beware, if their eyeballs or skulls hit the ground, they must reset them all and start over. This is going to be played out in rounds. They're going to be given a specific amount of time for each round. And if they're on the terrifying teeter-totter, when the clock strikes 0, they must finish their current trip. And when the next round begins, they will continue where they left off. The same rule applies. It's basically just the seesaw comp that we usually see as an HOH, but this time it's a battle back comp. Jared says he sees nothing but dead people, a full graveyard, a whole bunch of people he doesn't trust sitting above it. He's really feeling like people did him dirty in the house, but having the ability to choose your own fate is one of those things in the house you don't get often. So he's super excited to get out there and win it. Cory says he needs Cam to win the comp. If he gets a shot at the do or die comp, he's confident he'll complete it. He needs people to work with, and if he comes back, he can be one of those people. Cirie obviously is hoping Jared's going to come back, feels that he was meant to be in the house and he's a competitor and she needs him here. So we get after 10 minutes of seesawing and eyeballing, it ends up being tied 7-7 at round 1. We then get this like stupid segment where Jag is talking to Cam, which like admittedly this was good that he was doing this. He's helping him out. He's giving him advice.
Funny if Jared was just like in the
It would have also been funny if he gave him the wrong advice. Yeah, he asks how he slept. He tells him he's doing the comp. He knows every time he stood there and waited and didn't look at the balls, probably see if they fall or not. They'll move anyway, so those 2-3 seconds might be better to let him continue to move. Jag never thought that he'd be rooting for Cam to win a comp. He can't have Jared stay, so he's giving him a piece of advice to let him know he's rooting for him, which again, I think was good for Jag because it showed that like he's serious about working with Cam, but like who fucking cares? So We get to round 2, which is also only going to be 10 minutes. Cirie is panicking, watching Jared reset those balls over and over again. Cameron is just moving slow and basically, steady and methodical. And Jared is almost running, and it can't be done that way. America says that Jared can't win because he wants her and Cory out of the house, so she wants him gone. And then Mimi says that Jared, basically Mimi says that Jared, where was I? There it is. Mimi said Jared coming back in the house will actually be good for her game because she knows that he wouldn't target her. So she's rooting for him all the way. At the end of round 2, Cam then has 13. Jared has 9. Cirie goes to Jared. We get basically the same segment we got from Jag. She tells him to eat more and slow down. Even if his balls come out, he's got to remain slow and say, at this point, they're literally just padding for time. Like, there's nothing to show here. It's literally just Cirie giving Jared advice. There's nothing to talk about here. Admittedly, I do like the moments between Cirie and Jared because they're really sweet, but I don't care about this. I wish that it was about something that wasn't about the stupid comp. But she says that she needs him in the game, not just for his game, but hers as well. So she's calling all prayers and just hoping he pulls through. And we get to round 3, and we don't even get to see round 3 play out because the winner is going to be revealed on Thursday's episode, which I'm telling you right now, they had to have done this because they had literally nothing to show.
Yeah, literally it was just like filler and shit. Like, come on. Like,
yeah. The fact that they literally didn't show this until Thursday's episode, it just really shows me they legitimately had nothing to show. So
really such a filler episode. Like the Sunday ones have been pretty good. Besides, obviously the fight was good and certain things, but this ending was just nothing. Yeah. And I why did they end it like that? Come on.
And we get to Thursdays, and let me just say, Thursdays is literally nothing. There's barely anything to talk about.
There's barely nothing. There's barely much to talk about at all.
Yeah. So Cory says that he's the reason Jared went home in the double eviction. He cannot have him return to the game. We already talked about this. That's not important. Cirie once again wants Jared to pull out the win, whatever. We don't have to talk about that either. Blue says it's a stressful game to watch. Her relation with Jared, whatever. Jag talks about the power dynamics in the house that have been shifting, especially after Cory blew up Jared's game, that if Jared comes back in, there's a chance that the people he's been working with will rally back around him and things are going to go back to where they were. Bowie says that she really wants Cam to win because they've had a long relationship in this game since they were in alliance together. Her and Jared haven't talked a lot of games, so it's obvious who she really wants to win here. And Cory says that every time Cameron raises and lowers the beam, it feels like he's gently holding his game in his hands. And after the 3rd round, with a pretty steady lead, Cameron has won the competition. He now has the power to control his own fates, which, I think we pretty much knew was going to happen. He had a pretty steady lead for a while. So he says winning this competition was essential. The fate of his game now lies in his hands. He can decide to play in the do or die comp, or he can force Jared to play. We pretty much know how this goes at this point. There's no guarantee he's going to win the comp. It'll be the biggest decision that he's made thus far. Jared talks about how emotionally winning this would have been a step in the right direction for him. He just really couldn't pull it off.
Yeah, Jared was
yeah, I definitely did feel for Jared here because of the fact that he really did want to come back in. But again, I just feel like this whole thing was so stupid. I just didn't really care that much. So Cirie says she's deflated and devastated. She can see it all over Jared's face that he is too. Jared now finds himself at the mercy of Cameron, which means he'll decide who gets to compete. She's never experienced this type of situation in any other game she's played in, so she doesn't know what he should really do. Cory then says that Zombie Cam wins the Resurrection Rumble. He's over the moon. He thinks Cam's going to be back in the house, which is scary because he doesn't know what he'd do. But Zombie Jared re-entering is terrifying because he knows that he's going to target him. So Cirie comforts Jared. Felicia walks in the room, tells him that he did his best. Cirie tells him it's not over yet. Jared is very emotional here. He says that Cameron pulled it off, which he can accept. He always respected the comps, the competitors. He just hopes whatever happens that somebody protects his mom. He goes home and she's left there to fend for herself.
Yeah, that was sweet.
Yeah, I think that, I saw some people making fun of Jared crying, but I definitely am not going to do that because
make fun of people crying.
Well, I think in some situations they can. Mecole in Big Brother 18, you could make fun of her crying because she cried all the time over everything. Yeah, she's not a good person at all. No, but I will say with Jared in the house, him crying, I don't think.
Like,
Yeah, this is not about his game. This is about his mom being in the house and him basically not being able to help her. Like, I would probably be just as sad. I would think that I let my mom down. I would think that I ruined her game pretty much, which he kind of did. And I think that he's realizing that. And I think Jared's love for Cirie is undeniable at this point. And I think that we really do get to see that here. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And I think that for me was probably the strongest part of this episode. So Jared Emotion says that Cameron pulled it off, which he can accept. He always respected the competitors. What? Oh, okay. So basically, Felicia says that life brings disappointment, and she was disappointed when she thought that Jared and Cirie had went against her. He was disappointed when she was willing to vote to evict him, but now he's back in the house, and even though they've had their hiccups, they need each other. They all can't get to the end without each other. Families are going to fight all the time, but at the end of the day, they never forgot their family. And Cirie tells Jared all his brothers would probably tell him to buck up. Her and Felicia go back and forth comforting him, and Felicia tells him it ain't over till it's over, which Cirie agrees and says it's not the finish line. And then we finally get to see some actual possible strategic conversations about what might happen in the next week. Oh, why'd I put my name? This is you reading this.
Like, gatekeep Allie. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm the only one that's allowed to read notes now.
So Jag talks to Cam, who tells him to give him 1 week of press and wants to make a group with Jag and Matt, also known as the Minutemen. They also pull Blue into it. Yes. I also think it's really funny when she says, "Hello, dumb bitches."
Yeah, that was a funny moment.
It's so good. Jag says, as weird as it sounds, he's open to working with Cameron. He's a strong competitor like him and Matt, so he'd rather work with him than against him.
I mean, I think this is really good for Jag and Matt.
I don't even think he likes him as a person. No. It's just game-wise.
Yeah, I mean, I think that this was something that I kind of expected was going to happen. If you remember when Cam, which admittedly was a good pitch at the time, when he was being backdoored, he did say to Jag and Matt, like, I'm going to make a deal with you. I'm going to stick to it. I think it was good that he decided to work with them. I just don't like the fact that anyone wants to work with Cameron because I want him out.
So Cameron says him and Jag have a bond. When he comes back in the game, they'll be the 2 house guests that have been unanimously voted out but came back to fight. Now they're fighting on the same team.
Which is so stupid. Let me just say, like, the fact that there's 2 people in the house that have been evicted unanimously and they're still here over people who could have easily still be in the house. Listen, I love Jag. But, like, that twist was pointless. You didn't need it. Jag could have been out of the house by now.
I mean, yeah, but I love Jag.
I do too, but, like, I would have honestly preferred it if he was probably gone because of the position he's in now.
I mean, yeah.
And I hate the fact that, now this is here. Like, it's just like they should have picked just one and stuck to it, not have 2 people that have already been voted out coming back into the house. It's so convoluted for no reason. Like, it's so stupid.
Yeah. So Lopez talks with Matt and Jag about how dangerous Cory and America are, and that Cory wouldn't have made the move he did without them. And then Matt knows taking them out doesn't make sense, but having Blue and Cam on their side can make that happen.
Yeah, I mean, this was really good. I think what Blue said about Cory and America, she's had a lot of dirt on them for a while, which I don't think they did a good job of showing this in the episode. The reason that Blue is so upset with Cory and America, it's mainly because, like, her and America were potentially going to make a final 2. She said to America that, like, I know you're in a similar position to me. I want you to know I'm going to put up Cory if I'm HOH. And America was not okay with that. And ever since then, Blue has kind of been talking shit about Cory and America constantly. And I just wish the show would have done a better job of showing that, because it does kind of feel like if I'm not watching the feeds, this is coming out of nowhere.
Yeah, like, once, like, Cory's gone, I could see Blue and America being like, yeah, let's dominate this shit because both of our showmances are out.
Yeah, I think so. We'll see.
So Matt knows taking them out doesn't make sense, and then having Blue Cam on the side can make that happen. I think I read that already. Blue comes in and Jag explains that he wants the 4 of them to move together, and she's also down for this. They all joke this is the handful except without Reilly.
Yeah, Riley's promise.
Promise sounds like a Lifetime Hallmark or Lifetime movie.
Yeah.
So weird. Cam talks to Matt and Jag about how they're like the brigade, who Matt has never heard of and says he was probably 5 when it happened. That was really funny.
That was really
That was probably one of the best parts of this episode.
Oh, yeah.
He was like, I was 5. I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
He's like, who are they? So he thinks Blue is a layup to them, which is great, while Cam is the Blair for the Minutemen.
Which is so good for Matt. Let me just say, like, Matt's in such a good spot. Again, I just hate that Cam is involved.
He's disgusting. I do not like him.
No.
So we get to see the segment of America and Cory in the shower, which makes Felicia laugh, and then they run away with Jack.
I was so happy they showed that. It was so funny.
Oh, it's so funny. It was like, obviously they were joking around and just
they literally were doing it just like for the feeds.
Yeah, they weren't even. People were just like getting dramatic over it. They were literally wearing clothes.
America and Cory are such trolls. Like they have been all season.
They just
exactly.
So Cory says it's true.
Oh, and I love not to cut you off. I did love the moment where Felicia was like, "Where's America?" And she's like, "Oh, she's in the shower." And she's like, "All right." And she's like, "All right, Jag, let's go away." Like she was like running away. It was great.
So good. Pretending to just like play hide and seek.
Oh yeah.
So Cory says his true core alliance is with Jag, Matt, and America. But they can still win HOHs, so he wants to create a secondary alliance if they do.
Which, in theory, is a great idea. But, we'll talk about what happens here.
Cory talks to Mimi and says a path forward with her, Felicia, and America is the best path forward. I almost said Amanda by mistake. Amanda Lopez.
Not Amanda from B15.
Oh, no. Oof. Mimi doesn't trust anyone in this game, but knows she needs to. He pitches this to Felicia, and she hints at how big of a threat Matt and Jag are.
Yeah, at this point, like, that's who she mainly wants out here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that's smart, because they're very dangerous.
Yeah.
Matt notices this and is upset that Cory is covering his face so he can't see what he's saying. The four of them talk and solidify it, and as they are, Matt casually comes in.
It's really funny.
Oh, that was hilarious. He's like, what's happening? Cory thinks this is his best path to win comps.
Which, okay. The thing that upsets me about this segment, I'm happy they showed it. They don't really show why this is so bad. The idea of Cory making this group with Felicia and Mimi is great. They're both really strong duos. They're never going to turn against each other. We know that Felicia and Mimi want to be final two. We know that Cory and America obviously are never going to turn on each other. I think it's a great idea to have the four of them together. What they don't show in the episode is that he told Matt and Jag about this. He literally told them that this was a group that was formed, and it's put Cory in a really bad position. And I don't know about you, but like, I think in hindsight, like, yeah, what Cory did with Izzy was like a good move, but I feel like he shouldn't have done it if he was basically just going to play the same game again, because he hasn't improved his positioning at all. He's honestly, I think, in a worse spot than he was before he went against Izzy.
Oh, definitely. He has not been in the best mindset.
No, I think that, like, I've seen people say this, and I agree. I think Cory just doesn't know how to play a dominant game. I think he knows how to play a game where, like, he's the target and people are coming after him. I don't think he knows how to play a game where he is, like, the ringleader and he's running the show, because ideally, like, him and America should be running the show right now. Usually, when there is a showman's in the house, like, they are the ones running the game. But because of the fact that Cory just isn't really willing to, like, keep things to himself, and, rely so heavily on Matt and Jag, it's really hurting him in the game. And I think this is going to be...
He just doesn't really know how to handle a showman's, like, in that sense.
Well, I don't think it's that he doesn't know how to handle a showman's. I think he doesn't know how to play the game in a showman's. I think he never really knew how to do that, when a showman's can absolutely benefit you, because the people America's talking to, Cory can talk to, and I thought they were starting to figure it out, but it seems like now they're kind of at this point where it's like they don't even know how to benefit each other. So
exactly.
At this point, I mean, I think Cory's gonna be out soon. I don't think he's long for this.
I don't see him like after the person who comes back and everything. Like, I feel like he's probably the next target.
Yeah, I think he's kind of fucked.
So Blue says she doesn't know how close Jag and Matt are to Cory in America, but she wants to drag them.
Yeah.
She talks to them about how well insulated both of them are. and how they're being used to win comps.
I think the way Blue went about this, if I'm being honest, I don't think was right. I think this was the wrong pitch to them because it doesn't really make a lot of sense. It's like, oh, they used you to win comps and things like that. And honestly, like if I'm Matt and Jag, that's fine because like we're still doing their dirty work. We're still, we're still in control. We can easily say, like at the end, yes, Cory and America told us to make those moves, but we were the ones that actually made those moves. Like, I don't think this is bad for Matt and Jag. I think what Blue should have said here is Cory and America do not trust you right now. Cory and America have made other alliances that you haven't, and they're not really on your side, and you need to be really wary of them.
Yeah.
I think the fact that Blue was like ranting about them was the wrong way to go about this. I think she should have been like, let's be wary of them, not fuck Cory and America for this, and just like assuming that they agree. I think to me, that was her mistake here.
Oh, definitely.
So.
Like, just a little frustrating.
Yeah, and the other thing they don't show here is that the reason Blue knows this because America told her. Yep. America thinks that her and Blue are like, together when Blue is basically using America right now. Yeah. So
they need to like get back together.
I don't think they will because Blue won't stop talking shit about both of them. So
she's just playing very hard.
She's not playing well, but yeah.
Him not playing the comp, but he's just hoping he loses it for him.
This was such a pointless segment. It's literally just he goes to Cam. He's like, "Would you even consider?" He's like, "No," and Jared's like, "Okay." Like that's literally all it was. I was really hoping that Cam would be like so confident, and then well, let's talk about what happens here. So we get to the fucking buyback and Cameron makes the decision to play in the comp himself. Oh my God, I can't believe it. And in a comp that it can only last for 3 minutes, Cam is, which basically this whole comp he had to.
Is he gonna lose?
He had to put a ball into a hole and resurrect himself that way. Here's what I don't understand. Why were there 3 balls? Because they made it seem like the 3 balls needed to be transferred into the hole, and he had to do that in 3 minutes. I feel like that is a lot more challenging than just put one ball in a hole. As long as you're careful, you probably are going to be able to do it. So I just feel like this needed to be a lot harder. I feel like Jared also should have had some involvement in the comp. Like maybe he tries to ruin it for him or he's doing his own comp. Like this just was not fun to watch. You're literally just watching someone put a ball into a hole in like the slowest way possible. He was going so slow. He dropped it at first. I literally thought he wasn't going to come back in, but he does. Cam's won the comp, meaning his game's been resurrected. It also means Jared is officially evicted. And Cam is back in the house, which
I mean, it's spicy like for like how unpredictable he is, but he's also gross and boring.
Horrible person.
So I just don't like him at all.
Yeah, like we'll talk about Jared in a little bit, but my opinion of Jared has definitely changed in the last couple of hours. I will definitely say that.
Yeah, same.
But Cam, I just really don't like at all. I think he's just an incredibly misogynistic and very toxic person.
I feel like he's the person who's not gonna like hold himself accountable.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like he's just gonna make excuses.
I did not.
I also hate the fact that the show is not really showing the things that he says. They cut away from it, which actually makes what he says a lot worse because we don't know what he's saying. So yeah, I'm tired of Cameron. I don't want him in the house anymore. I hate the way he talks about America. I hate the way
likes her. He just wants to like.
No, he wants to take ownership of her. Yes. Yeah, I don't like the way he interacts with Blue. I don't like the way he interacts with like anyone in the house, but especially women. Yeah, it's just it's fucking gross, and I just absolutely hate it. What I did like though was this interview with Jared. I thought this was honestly one of the better interviews we've had in a long time. I feel like a lot of the time the interviews are pretty like cut and dry, but this one I actually thought was pretty good.
Very hard.
Yeah. So Julie talks about how tough it was to watch his fate be in Cameron's hands. He says that he fought as hard as he could until he couldn't anymore. And if he had put him on the spot, he thinks he would have made it happen. He thinks Cirie is going to do amazing. And he starts to tear up here. And I'm not going to lie, I almost teared up watching this. He talked about how she's not playing with him anymore. He says since day one, it was going to be hard as she wasn't part of the teams they were in the house. He's hoping that she can trust Blue, but thinks that's about it. And he thinks things shifted towards him being a competitor. He's happy with how he played, even though it was part of his downfall. And I did feel for Jared here. He loves his mom. He's feeling like he let her down. He's feeling like her days are pretty much numbered at this point, which I will say, Cirie has done a very good job reintegrating herself into the house. I think because now she's realized that that Jared is gone and she's going to have to play for herself. And I think that honestly,
she lost Jared and Izzy.
Well, I think she's going to be even better not having Jared there, because Jared was actively ruining her game. Like, let's not change that. Like, Jared was ruining her game. He was the one spilling stuff that didn't need to be spilled. He made.
Shut up.
Yeah, that was just like, he needed to clean it up a little bit. She told him in the beginning, clean it up a little bit. He never cleaned it up. And that's exactly why Jared ended up in the spot that he did. So he is confident that Cirie can go after Cory. He wants her to do it by any means necessary if it's the last thing she does. And he does receive goodbye messages from Cory, which America's message to him was like really blunt. No, apparently she apparently said that she like recorded like 3 different goodbye messages. 2 of them were like nice and the other one was mean, and they just picked the one that was mean. So yeah, no. I will say the one thing I am going to take away from this, I think Cory's going to have like really good jury management, because I think the way he talked to Jared here, that's like how you should talk to evicted house guests, where he's like, I love you outside of this house. I hope we can reconnect, but I can't trust you in this game. Like, I thought that was really good the way he worded that. Yeah.
Like, they can throw it up. And
yeah. I think him and Cory are going to be really good friends after, and Jared's even mentioned that, like, since that's happened. But Blue sends him a goodbye message, and of course Cirie, which Cirie's was pretty heartfelt, and her talking about how much she's going to go after Cory and things like that. So,
it's like the partial.
Yeah, I do want to talk about Jared here for a little bit, because I think that for most of the season we have not really been the biggest fans of Jared. I actually, honestly, I kind of give credit to myself here, because I literally said in the beginning, I don't think he's going to inherit the same genius, strategic, and social maneuverability that his mom has, and he very much did not. I think that Jared had opportunities to play really well. He just didn't listen to Cirie. He wanted to do his own thing. He was so incredible. He had this huge ego that he couldn't let go of. He was constantly like just spewing out things about his game to people they didn't need to. He was talking about his opinions on people they didn't need to. He didn't know when to shut up, and that's exactly what hurt him. And look, I've done that before in games. There's one game especially that you end up going out earlier than you needed to, that I would not, that because, and that ended up happening because I couldn't shut up. So I don't really blame Jared for that, but it doesn't change the fact that Jared, I thought, was very disappointing. I think that he could have been in a really good spot this season, especially in the beginning of the game. Like, everybody trusted Jared. Everybody wanted to pull him into things. He was like perfectly positioned into the middle. And all it took was for Cirie to be out of commission for like 48 hours, for pretty much all of that to fly out, to pretty much go out the window. And there was no way for him to really recover. So I don't think it was too surprising that he ended up going here. And even if he came back in the game, it seemed like Jared wasn't really going to play as much. Like, he was going to be more focused on exacting revenge. And I think he wouldn't have been here much longer.
I feel like he probably... he would definitely want to come back with revenge, but I feel like he would also try and chill a bit.
Yeah, I would hope he'd find a way to reintegrate himself in the house, but I just feel like there was too much damage done to his game that I don't think he would have been able to recover. What I do really want to focus on, though, is Jared, what he said after he's been in the house, because at first I was not super impressed by some of the things that he's saying, but I think he's had some time to really reflect on things. And there was an interview that came out today, and I'm honestly very impressed by how much Jared is admitting that, I said and did some things that were really bad. He wants to apologize to America. He wants to apologize to Matt. He talks about how, anyone who's upset by what he did, they have every right to feel that way. And he can't do anything about it other than try to grow from it. 100%. Yeah. Yeah, like I'm so tired of seeing house guests saying like, "Oh, you haven't watched the feeds. Oh, you don't actually know what happened." No, we fucking do know what happened. And I like that Jared for once did not do that. Jared admitted, "Yes, what people have said was true. I did say these things. I did say something about America. I did say something about Matt. I feel terrible about that. And I want to try to move forward. I want to try to learn things about myself. Like, this is exactly what we want to see."
Like, he's young, but not that
Yeah.
young. Like,
He didn't just say the bare minimum either. Like,
he obviously should know these things, but I'm not like, we're like, yeah, I said them and I want to do better.
It's just super refreshing because like we don't see enough of this. I feel like on Big Brother, a lot of the time people are just like doubling down on things that they said. And I like the fact that for once, he's actually holding himself accountable. He's actually admitting that he said something wrong. So I will give Jared that and say that I do think Jared is going to grow as a person. I do think that he's learning a lot about himself. And I think that this experience is going to make him, you know, a better person. He's going to move. He's going to recognize those things that he said. He recognizes how hurtful those things were. I just hope that he's able to move forward.
I'm sorry to like everyone, give them big hugs and stuff.
I think he's gonna be. I think he's gonna be like Mecole last season on like BB24, where like he's just very remorseful about what happened, and he's able to move forward. And I think that's exactly what will happen with Jared. Like I think. Yeah, so I was honestly very impressed by his responses. I think, especially compared to just how disgusting Cam has been all week, I much prefer, you know, Jared at this point because I think that. Yeah, he really is. And I really love that he owned up to what he said. I think that it really just says a lot about his character that he's willing to do that he's willing to just be a lot more open and honest about things. Cause that's really all we can ask for. Like, if you do something wrong, just fucking admit that you did it. It's so much. It says so much more about your character to admit you did something than try to like deny it and try to, you know, change history, try to, you know, just deny everything. Like it's so much more. It's so much better to just admit that you did it. And I'm glad that Jared ended up doing that. So I will definitely give him that. Yeah. Me too. So yeah, definitely my opinion of Jared has changed in the last few hours. I still have a lot of criticisms of how he played the game. It doesn't change the fact that he said the things that he did, but I do think admitting it and taking accountability, it goes a long way for sure. And I think we definitely saw that here. And I think if he, I just hope I hope he does apologize to America and Matt, and they're able to move forward because I think it definitely will help him a lot. So with Jared gone, it's finally time to put the scary week to bed. Julie talks to the house guests about how they're all feeling. She does warn them the Scaryverse may rear its head again, and she lets them know that since there was no HOH this week, everyone's going to compete in the HOH, which Cory obviously is very excited about. Yeah. And that's it. That is how we end this week. Kind of a nothing week, as we said. Somehow, there's not really a lot to talk about here, as we said. But the thing that is, you know what's most frustrating about all of this? Even though we literally had a double eviction, because of this battle back, we're still not a fucking jury. We still have one more week. Like, it's so frustrating. Yeah, we literally, like, day 70 is jury. That's fucking insane. I've never, like, oh my God, it's ridiculous. Yeah, and warning about this week, it's terrible. Oh my God.
And Vito as well. He is so boring.
Yeah, and there was an opportunity to backdoor Cory. I kind of wish it happened. I think it would have been really explosive. Yeah.
Spicy, and also there would be.
I don't like the reasoning that he was going to backdoor Cory. We'll get into that more next week, but I think it would have been really spicy if that did happen because I think it really would have set off some fireworks. But unfortunately, we're getting rid of somebody that really has no business not being in jury. So yeah, me too. It's just it's like the worst possible. I'm just gonna say it right now. If something doesn't change next week, I do think this week ruined the season. I do. Because it just, the momentum that we had, it's kind of gone. And I'm just not sure if we're going to be able to get it back.
Still watch, of course, but
I'm just worried. I'm feeling like, and I hope this is not true. I'm feeling like this is going to be like Big Brother 20, where it starts off really great. It's like consistent, like crazy week after crazy week, blindside after blindside. So much unpredictability, and then things just get really boring. And you know what ruined Big Brother 20 was a twist. What ruined Big Brother 25, if it continues, a twist. So what do we need to stop? A twist. Like it happens every fucking season. I can't say it enough.
Please, just like think through their twists.
Yeah, if they're gonna do a twist, like just have it be well thought out. I'm not against twists. I'm against twists that are half-assed. And this twist was like probably honestly one of their worst to date. And I feel like I'm saying this every season. Last season we had the split house twist that was terrible. 23 didn't have like the worst twists. I honestly think that's the only season where the twists didn't impact the game as much. I thought that the twists honestly were pretty good that season. 22, it's, that's a whole other different story. But like, it's so consistent in terms of like the issues of the show. And you always hope that they're going to turn around. And then this happens and it just seems like we're back to square one. And that's the best way I think to describe this week. It just feels like, well, this is still BBUS. Nothing changes. It's still really boring. We're still going to have comps that mainly just skew towards muscular men. We're still going to have really boring twists that only benefit the problematic people in the house. We're still going to have, a lot of really shitty stuff that is completely unfair to a lot of house guests. Like, why did you, and a lot of people have said this and I'm going to agree, why did you help Cameron and Jared when you could have helped Kirsten? Like, why? Because you could have easily canceled that week. Instead, you canceled this week, and it's just halted the entire game. Like, it's just completely unnecessary. You had a bunch of house guests not having anything to do, so it's just really boring to watch. And I'm just really hoping that we're able to get that momentum back because this has been a great season up to this point.
I also feel like Cameron's going to be the one person that nobody talks about later. Like, I feel like the only one that might hang out with him is Red and maybe Bowie.
And the Facebook moms, don't forget about them. They're a powerful they're a powerful force to be reckoned with. So other than that, I really wish we were more optimistic, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm starting to lose interest in this season.
I hope it picks back up, but
really hoping that it does. But
I'm hoping we get like one of the women HOHs.
Yeah, it's just the thing is like.
Because this is not normal that all men are winning comps.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Literally, it has no woman has won since Felicia. But I just, most of the time in Big Brother, when things get boring, they stay boring. And I'm hoping that's not the case with this season. So I'm hoping they're able to.
Like the last woman to win a veto was Brittany.
Yeah, that's true. That's fucking crazy. Either way, just really hoping that things turn around here. This was a really boring week overall. I'm hoping that things get back on the right track. I will say I like the fact that Cirie is finding her footing in the game again. I just honestly kind of wish that flip maybe never even fucking happened.
Also,
because
if the backdoor Cory plan happened, like it would have been cool to have like all the women team up, like what Felicia and America were talking about.
Yeah, it really sucks that things are going to go the way they're going this week, but not much we can really do about it.
I'm hoping like the remaining women will team up.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with that. But other than that, that's it for this video. We have things to plug if you want to go ahead and do that. So you can start off.
All right. Stay tuned for our coverage of Survivor.
Yes. Please don't hate on this season, by the way. It's only been one episode. Like, people are being so ridiculous towards this season already.
Yeah.
Like,
some people like it, some people don't.
So
we'll see.
We can definitely look at Emily weird, but like, the rest of the game is still looking really good.
She's the problematic one.
Yeah.
Also, of course, stay tuned for the Traders Canada. We'll be starting. Very excited.
We don't know if we're gonna be able to do it live because like I looked into it and like CTV doesn't say when it's on for Pacific time.
Yeah.
So
let's see.
Because I'm in Canada right now and we're on Pacific time. Yeah. So
hopefully it can work, but if not, we'll just cover it like eventually soon.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk. We'll probably watch it tomorrow if we don't get a chance to.
Yeah, we'll definitely figure that out. either tonight, tomorrow, whatever.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with that.
Of course, stay tuned for all of our other season reviews.
Yes.
Like
A lot of stuff.
Buddy Games, The Circle, Traders US 1. What else is there?
Surviving Paradise, that's coming up soon. Yeah.
Eventually have to restart.
House of Villains. Yeah.
So much.
A lot of stuff coming in.
It's mostly going to be the Traders, Survivor, and Big Brother.
Yeah, so you guys can look forward to that. Very excited to see how those turn out. I'm hoping the Big Brother gets better, but this week kind of made me lose a lot of interest. But either way, guys, over this video.
And also, want to be a guest?
Yes, always. But yeah, that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Comment down below, let us know what you guys saw this week overall. Remember, couples that podcast together stay together. We will see you guys later.
Have a good night, guys.